Martin.
And I'm Marian Corchon.
And welcome to Braddock Forensics. In today's tutorial, we will learn how to collect fingerprints in scenarios where it may seem impossible.
In our previous videos, which you should totally go watch, we actually made it way easier by placing the fingerprint on this glass surface.
However, that is not the case that crime scene technicians encounter in real crime scenes.
In real crime scenes, you're more likely to find stuff like this.
And this.
Or even this.
So, this is the biggest issue that crime scene technicians have. How to collect fingerprints without damage them.
When you grab a glass and you apply the powder to collect the fingerprints, the hand that you're using to grab the glass would actually damage the fingerprint that you're trying to collect.
This means that while you're holding it, this hand is damaging the fingerprints that you're then going to move to try to collect.
So, how do we solve this issue?
The answer to this problem is easier than you might think. Super glue.
But what are you gluing together?
We're not gluing anything together. We're using a specific chemical that is found in commercial super glue. It is called cyanoacrylate and is found in all commercial glue.
But how do you apply a chemical to a fingerprint?
Again, the answer to this problem is easier than you might think. Let me show you. We will need to take advantage of the fumes that cyanoacrylate produce. To do so, we're going to use a Ziploc bag that perfectly seals our surfaces with a couple of cotton balls that we're going to add a couple drops of super glue.
Okay, an extra step we need to add to this experiment is the use of gloves.
But we didn't use gloves before. Why now?
Because before we were using a surface that provided a controlled environment. We knew where the fingerprint pass was and where to add the powder.
Yeah, however, in this case, we're using something like this. And in a surface like this, how could you possibly know where to find a fingerprint?
Let's move on to the steps. You will need to carefully place the surface that you are inspecting, in my case, this glass cup, inside the Ziploc bag. Be careful here, you must ensure that the bag is not touching the container.
Now, we're going to add at least 2 drops of super glue on each one of the cotton balls, just like that. And we will add the cotton balls inside of the container. The most important part is that you ensure that the cotton balls are not touching the glass. In actual crime scenes, of course they don't use super glue or bags. They use actual chambers. These chambers will allow them to place huge things like an entire bicycle and feed into chemicals, the same way we're doing here.
For our method, the most important thing to keep in mind is to not let the plastic bag or the cotton balls touch the glass container. If they do, they could damage fingerprints.
Another important thing is that before you close this, you have to ensure that there is enough air in the inside for the fumes that are released in this chemical process to interact with the surface of the glass container.
And what do we do now?
We wait 24 hours.
No, that would be a really long video. Let's just show you an example I previously made.
And don't fear, these marks are actually staying on the surface of the glass. They won't go away because you simply touch them.
But this benefit is also a disadvantage because these marks cannot be lifted and they cannot be taken to the lab like the powders we have previously used in other videos.
But don't worry, that will actually not stop us from being able to analyze these fingerprints the same way. You can take a picture as long as you have a proper scale next to it and you follow the rules of forensic photographs. That picture can later be sent to the lab where they will input it in a database that can compare it the same way it will compare it to those fingerprints that we have lifted.
That will be all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can watch our upcoming videos.
Bye! Well, the answer for this
I can't love you in the dark. It feels like we're oceans apart. Starting scene in 3, 2, 1.
Actually, yeah, ¿por qué, Marian? ¿Por qué? I've seen ones that are big enough to fit an entire bicycle.